What if I told you that there was a movie in theaters right now that is a beautiful and well-executed allegory on how we as Christians are supposed to live in this world, and how by embracing what God made us to be, we lead a much fuller and richer life? Now, what if I told you the protagonists of this movie was a family of ducks? Hi, I'm Mateo Rivera, the Cinematic Catholic, and today I'm going to be giving you my review of Migration, the latest feature from Illumination Studios, as well as sharing my thoughts on the future of family entertainment. All that and more, coming up next. So Migration is the story of a family of ducks that have never left their New England pond. When we meet the Mallards, the father duck, Mac, played by Kumail Nanjiani, which I love Kumail Nanjiani, is explaining to his children why they never need to leave the pond, and how the outside world is full of dangers and predators, and how they have everything they need in their little bubble. The family seems to be fine with it for the most part, until a flock of ducks visit their pond while on their way to Jamaica, migrating for the winter. This makes the family curious about migrating and seeing what the world has to offer. And of course, Mac does not want any part of it, okay? And he really puts his foot flipper down and tells his family that they will not be migrating. That is until talking with Uncle Dan, played by Danny DeVito, who sort of gives him the push he needs to see that there could be some value in this, and the next morning they are up and flying into the world. And of course, hijinks ensue, things don't go according to plan, and they end up in New York City. The first thing that caught my eye with this film was the family dynamic. You see what the Mallards' life looks like, and they do have some fun and enjoyment in their area, but it only extends so far. There is a cap on how much enjoyment they can get out of living their lives this way. Also, ducks are meant to migrate. It's like built into their survival instincts. So they are rejecting not just a part of themselves, but like a vital part of their lives. It reminds me of how some Christians see everything that's going on in the world today with the news and social media and what influencers and movies are trending right now, and they just say, nope, not gonna deal with it, gonna stay in my little bubble and keep the world from my kids for as long as possible. And I can definitely see how people reach that as a solution. But once the ducks actually do migrate and they are out in the world, they face challenges that require them to lean on each other more, and in doing so, makes their family bond stronger. Not only are their own lives improved by this experience, but the lives of several birds they meet along the way, a lot of birds' lives actually, are greatly improved because of the Mallards and their influence on them in one way or another. As Christians, we are called to go out into the world and share Christ's love with everyone that we encounter. And I'm not talking about street preaching, okay? I'm talking about building relationships, being a part of the community, and being a beacon of light for those around us, and being an example that Christ's love leads to a fulfilled life. We can't do that if we're cooped up at home because we're afraid of what's out there. We know what's out there, okay? We know the dangers that this world faces. But there's a line in this movie that I absolutely love, and it's when Max says, "When danger comes, we don't run away from it, we take a stand." Now, at the same time, this movie does not just say, okay, go out into the world and do whatever you want, which is where most movies like this would end. This film actually encourages you to be mindful and aware of the dangers in the world. There's one scene in the film where the Mallards stumble upon this duck sanctuary, and they even call it Duck Heaven in the movie. And they have all these ducks relaxing and swimming in this really big pool and eating as much food as they want. And it looks really comfortable. That is until the Mallards realize that this is a duck farm where the ducks are being fattened up so they can be sold to a chef and cooked. And so while this movie is saying go out into the world, it is also saying be cautious, know where you are, and don't fall into evil traps. And guys, I have to give this movie props for balancing those two very well. Okay, this is an excellent showcase in moderation. There was also something very sweet in this movie that I thought was a really cool visual representation, one that I had never seen before, but it does dive a bit into spoilers, so if you don't want to know anything about this movie, skip to this time code. There's a part in this movie where the parents get captured by the chef, and the boy duck's Dax gets his wings stripped, which means that now he can't fly. What he ends up doing is he gathers the feathers from his parents and the other adult birds, and he uses those to fill in his wings, and then he swoops in and saves the day. As soon as I saw that, the first thought that went through my head was, He's taking all of the influence from his parents and those around him. He's taking the best parts and applying those to his own life and using them to navigate through the world. It was just a really beautiful image to me, and I'm not sure if the filmmakers meant for it to be that deep, but regardless, I got a little bit choked up in that scene. So I think it's very clear that I loved this movie, and not only is it a good family movie, and also a good date movie. I went and watched this with my wife, and there were a lot of scenes that just focus on the parent ducks and their relationship, and it was just really, really sweet. But this is also just a greatly packaged message about going out into the world and being the person that God made you to be. And so for my cinephile rating, I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. And for my Catholic rating, I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. What a way to end the year, man. I know we're nearing the end of winter break, but if you have some time this weekend or have time on New Year's Day and you and the family or you and your significant other want to go get out and do something, go see Migration. I'm hoping that word of mouth saves this movie at the box office because that's already happened once this year. Now, as far as the future of family movies go, I'm not sure if this is just the people that I'm around in my everyday life, but I feel like there's a lot of talk about how there are no good family movies anymore or movies that promote good morals and values, and yeah, the world is changing. But at the same time, in this year alone, we had the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which is all about Mario saving his brother, Elemental, which is a sign that when they try, Disney can still make bangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which was my favorite movie of the year, and not my favorite animated movie, not my favorite family movie, no, my favorite movie of 2023. And I did a full breakdown of why on my personal channel. I'll link that down below if you're interested. Spider-Verse came out this year, which was a spectacular follow-up to the amazing first film in 2018. And now Migration, I actually think this has been one of the best years for family films in a while. And aside from a brief scene in Elemental, these movies aren't pushing an agenda. They're not slipping in any subliminal messages. They're just good family films, and a few of these I think are going to be considered childhood classics in like a decade from now. And in particular, Illumination Studios, I was looking over their filmography, and I don't think they've put out a bad movie. They've also, again to my knowledge, never put anything in their movies that was harmful to children. Like, you could play any one of their films at a church movie night and not be afraid about an offhand comment from a character or certain ideologies being tossed in, if you know what I'm saying. But if we want these movies to continue to come out, if we want studios like Illumination to continue to bring us these great family stories, then we have to support them, which means going to the theater to watch them. And so again, please, go see Migration in theaters. I don't think you'll regret it. And if you just want to do a family movie night at home, then watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Go watch my video and then have a conversation about the themes and morals discussed in the movie, because it was far more thought-provoking and profound than people, including me, were expecting it to be. But guys, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed this review. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and I can't wait to bring you more movie reviews in 2024. But once again, my name is Mateo Rivera, and until next year, hasta la vista.